Hello everyone, welcome to another edition of Music, Motorcycles, and Ministry. My name's Leo, and today we're going to look at Revelation, in particularly the 1260 days, the 42 months, the time, times and a half a time, and the 3.5 years. Now, I hear a lot of people say that they don't like really reading Revelation because it's kind of confusing and intimidating to them, but it's really not meant to be that way. Revelation means the revealing of Jesus Christ. It was written to show his servants what must soon take place. So it should get you excited and joyful, because by seeing the prophecies being fulfilled, you can see how close we are to Jesus returning. There's a lot of information contained in Revelation, so I'm going to try to keep this video as simple as I can. And I'm just going to give you some puzzle pieces, and you can take a look at them and try to fit them in where you see that they go. The first thing we notice is that the 1260 days, the 42 months, 3.5 years, and a times and a half time are all the same time frame. They all contain the same amount of time. These time periods can be found in the book of Daniel and the book of Revelation. Now, there are three main views that people have on the end times and prophecy. There's two other views. They're not quite as popular, but I'll touch on them lightly also. The first view is the preterists. The preterists believe that most, if not all, prophecies in the Old Testament were fulfilled at the destruction of the temple in Jerusalem in 70 AD. Now, they also believe that the prophecies in Revelation were all fulfilled by the first century church. Next, you have the historists. They believe that prophecy gradually and continually unfolds from the Old Testament times to the current time uninterrupted. They also believe that the days in these prophecies should be viewed as years, and they get the basis for that from a couple different verses in the Bible. But it is interesting that if you take the 1260 days and convert them to years, that is the time period that the Holy Roman Empire was in power from its beginning to when they lost power in the French Revolution, when the Pope was arrested, the clergy was either executed or banished, and all the Holy Roman Empire's land in France was confiscated. They also believe that the 1260 years that the Holy Roman Empire existed coincides with the 1260 days which the woman in Revelation, the church, was led out into the wilderness pursued by the dragon. So I don't like math too well, so I'll try to explain this the best I can, and I'll also include a few charts to help you to understand it also. So, if you take 1260 days and times it by 2, that equals 2,520 days. And of course, if you convert that to years, that would be 2,520 years. Now, there's a prophecy in the Bible that when a call goes out to rebuild Jerusalem, some things will happen. Now, if you take the 2,520 years from the first call that went out to rebuild Jerusalem by Cyrus, it comes out, 2,520 years comes out to when Israel became a nation again in 1948. It's kind of amazing. But to make things even more interesting, there were two calls that went out to rebuild Jerusalem, because Cyrus's call didn't really go far enough. They ran into some obstacles. So Artaxerxes made another call to go out and rebuild Jerusalem. And if you take it from his call 2,520 years later, it ends up being when Israel retook Jerusalem. So I think that's pretty interesting. The next group we have is the futurists. They believe that most prophecies about the end times are literal and will not occur until shortly before Jesus' return. For instance, the 7-year tribulation and the Antichrist. So in the book of Daniel, there's a prophecy of about 70 weeks of years. Most view that the 69 weeks have already occurred and been fulfilled. But now the futurists believe after the 69th week that there's a pause and the last week won't occur until shortly before Jesus returns. Now, the other two views don't believe that there's that pause there, especially because Revelation says that it was to show his servants what must soon take place. So now I'm going to share the last two views, which aren't very popular, but I said that I'd touch on them. Anyway, there's the idealists. The idealists believe that these weren't necessarily prophetic at all, but they were just meant as guidelines that will help the church in any time period. Now the last view we have, and it's one of the newer views, it's called the hybrid view. And it's kind of what I lean towards. They pretty much take what they find of value in each one of the views, and they don't strictly adhere to one view or the other. It says in the Bible that the disciples went to Jesus privately to ask him about these things. And you need to do the same thing. You need to go to Jesus and ask him about these things. It's good to get other people's views on what some of these verses mean, and it's good to study yourself, but basically you need to go to Jesus and have him show you what a lot of this is about. These are just some basics. I'll get into some deeper things in some future videos, and I want to show you that end time prophecy is not as confusing and intimidating as many might think. And remember too that the book of Revelation says, "Blessed are those who read aloud the words of this book, and blessed are those who hear them." So even just reading it to one another provides you with a blessing. So anyway, love, joy, peace, patience, gentleness, kindness, self-control are all fruits of the spirits. I wish them all upon you, and all the grace of God upon you. And until the next video, God bless you, and hope you enjoyed it. Thanks.